Today's December 2nd, 2025, and wanted to put this special lesson down for you, my grandchildren, if just in case you didn't actually learn about this lesson, because sometimes some lessons can only be learned like under certain circumstances, and this lesson is about Sally. Okay. All right. That's because she was whining just a little bit ago, and it dawned on me that, she's all preoccupied with, her agenda, And so she whining because she's putting her feelers out to other living creatures like me and the other dogs, and that's as far as she knows. Okay. All right. Now, I already knew this even since I was a little kid, so I am pretty confident that if you give any thought to this kind of stuff as a child, then you probably might have already figured this out. But just in case if you didn't, of course, the lesson is that this is just the same way it is in other, stratospheres of life. That's why the symbol of the onion having all them different layers, that's like a symbol for all the layers of life. And Sally's got her layer, okay, but Sally don't really know about my layer too much. And I'm taking care of her layer too. All right, look. I mean, she's wobbles around. Right, she came over here by me, and then she walked in the house. She probably knows I'm talking about her. And I got the mattress flipped up, right side up, so I can sleep and everything. Said you can't lay on that. And she just didn't know what to do. And so she's whining, but she's taking care of her business. And totally kind of oblivious to my business. I'm thinking about, I was thinking about Donald Trump. Okay, and that's President of the United States of America, and that's a lot more important than whatever Sally was thinking about. And Sally's got right to her own happiness and everything, so all right, the thing is, the lesson is, okay, life is like an onion, has many layers. And for example, these strikes that are going on in Venezuela about the supposedly narco terrorists that they're pegging out of off the coast of Venezuela, saying that they're coming toward America and that we got to defend ourselves, and so we kill these unarmed fishing boats full of people, and they say full of drugs. Look, it's nothing to do about narco terrorists, anything like that. They're killing people to pick a fight. They're killing people from another country to pick a fight. That's all they're doing. They're fronting. And that's what you always have to understand, okay? There's different layers in life. And sometimes it's one layer is presented, okay? What they're going to present, and that's the narrative. And then, but really what's going on is a whole other thing. And so because it's national security and classified, they can have secrets. And they don't have to tell the American people. But the American people can figure it out. They know what's going on. At least a lot of them do. I do. And especially if you actually live long enough, then you have repetitive stories over and over and over. And so, and even people make movies out of it to even kind of suggest to you what's really going on and stuff like that. Because it is. And that's how the world is played. Okay, Shakespeare, I know my son knows, my youngest son, Isaac, I know he knows this. All the world is a stage. We have our entrances and we have our exits. I don't know. Each person playing their part until the curtain is closed. All right, now I just totally made up the last part of it, but I don't know. I can't remember it, but there is a famous Shakespeare quote about that, about all the world is a stage. And we have our entrances and exits. I read about this when I was studying script analysis, which is a break off of transactional analysis by Eric Burns. That's what he used for the front to advertise like that, the whole concept of that book, Script Analysis. And it's because we play roles. And sometimes, stuff is secret, and this is why, Sun Tzu is one of the fathers of history. I mean, because that's how we capture that spirit. It's his spirit, but it's just, he's like the grandfather of it, one of the famous patriarchs, most regarded, a great grandfather of war. And when you come down to it, I mean, that's where the buck stops. It don't get any worse than that, but it happens. Now, internal war will divide a nation and make it collapse, and that's one of the principles of Sun Tzu. But there's still people that want to get the power, so they don't care if they tear apart the country, because they'll still think that the country can still survive, but at least they'll have more power. And that's the way a lot of people are. But I today felt a lot of inspiration, because it seems to me that I'm kind of happy now that Donald Trump became president, because it pushed America pushed the envelope of what America stands for to the limits, so the crisis, which is the cell division of the organism, the crisis occurs, and then, I don't know, synthesis, something better comes. Something new is born. All right, so because now we have been pushed to the limit, to the crisis, to the very edge, to the division, and to the breaking point, and to the divide, and it was divided and broke down. Like a big explosion, and all the walls came tumbling down. There you go, Tweeter and the Monkey Man. And the walls came tumbling down. See, that's why I love that song so much. It always speaks to me. See, there is a message now for what I'm saying right now in Tweeter and the Monkey Man by the I forget what their group name was called now. Traveling Wilburys. By Traveling Wilburys. Tom Petty wrote it, and Bob Dylan sang it with them, in the group. Anyway, I was just kind of happy. I was looking at Donald Trump, and I was thinking, I'm not saying that it's good what he did, or that even it is not worth it in any way, any of the cruelty that anybody suffered because this administration inflicted it upon them. But look, America is also kind of ruthless. That's why, Donald Trump is kind of like a a rabid dog, you know. And the judges think that they can control him or something, but no. And plus, he's rabid because now he's even got dementia, and I can tell it's right. And I just wanted to capture him just for sentimental purposes, because they're showing this thing on. I was watching him talk, and like I think this is actually current. I think he's still saying. I think he's actually still talking about like drug prices coming down like in the hundreds of percentages, like even as high as like 1,500%. Which, see, what that does is that kind of proves that people that actually know that how stupid that is, because they actually know that 1,500% is like 100% of the cost is like 100%. That's everything. Okay, 200% is then you're going into the whole, just as much as the whole value of the whole thing is. 1,500% is that you're giving it away for like 15 times the amount. That's 100% times 15. That's 1,500%. 15, like, and so for him to make a statement like drug prices are going to come down like 300%. Okay, I know that's just a cockamamie kind of. It don't even mean anything except it sounds nice, maybe, or something like that. But it's like something like in a cartoon. It's not even at the caliber of like science fiction or anything. It's at a cartoonish level, and you know, like make believe. And this is what he proved, though. Donald Trump proved that he can be the make believe president, and this is why I don't feel so bad now, because at least there had been no no other kind of make-believe president ever in history, and probably will never be again. Okay, he is like the barracuda, okay, the rabid dog. He is the monster of Mar-a-Lago. In fact, that would be a good name for him. I think I should, I'm going to refer to him now as the monster of Mar-a-Lago, because even in his dementia, when he's going crazy like an old dog, like old dogs will fight until the end. And they don't know that they won't stop fighting just because they're getting weak, really. They'll just go ahead and another dog, younger dog, bite them in the neck and they'll bleed out and die. And they'll be forgotten. And another dogs are going to be like, you know, saying, oh man, so sorry, he's not the king anymore. No, it ain't like that. They're not going to be thinking that way. And there might be a new dog. But this is the way in nature more than dogs. This nature here is the good Lord teaching us about the way of the beast, and that we are all beasts. And some of us, of course, like human beings, should be more refined, because we have a cerebral cortex which has been developed a little bit more. And so what that does is, I guess it makes us more unpredictable. Because we still got all the reptilian forces. And I swear to God, some people only have reptilian brains. And maybe they don't really, you know. I think, the thing about Einstein is, though, Einstein had a very well developed, like a big, I think it's the front peripheral temporal lobe or something like that. In the middle. And it was in the middle where all the kind of thoughts that go into, you have to develop to try to understand, you know, science at that level. That's that part of the brain right there. And, well, it was bigger for him. Now, I'm just going to play this real quick, because I want to keep this for posterity, for memory. Because, like, I have, like, tender kind of feelings toward him. Kind of like, even though he's a despot, at least he's an American despot. I mean, so he is the president, even though he criticizes every other president, especially if they're Democratic, and he criticizes anybody anyway, and he thinks that he is the best of all time, and nobody was ever like him. And he will even say that specifically, not only, you know, in that kind of descending order, but he'll get off his whole repertoire of why he's the greatest and the best, and there's never been anyone like him. And that just goes to show you, man. I mean, if people, that's the kind of person that they want, well, we got it. And so for a while, America, I guess, wanted somebody like him. And then after we got what we wanted, that's why they say, be careful what you wish for. Okay. After America got what they wanted, then they realized, oh man, we need to change this. And I don't know. But I'm just going to show this real quick.
100%, 500%, 600%, 700%, 800%. Nobody's ever heard of it before, because I instituted favored nations, and no nation agreed to do it. And then I said to the nations, if you're not going to do it, I'm going to charge you 100% tariff.
And then Trump continues to talk about his health. You see this as a spot that gets him very nervous. He's like,
all right, well, talking about his health now, because he is in his own bubble, really. But I just wanted to catch that one part there, though, about, you know, just the genuineness of his, you know, talking nonsensical stuff. Okay? And the point of this lesson for today that I want to, you know, mark down in a special way, because there are a lot of different layers of reality and of political ongoings and all this kind of stuff, and sociological stuff and everything like that, and relationships between people and all that kind of stuff, relationship between nations. And look, man, we probably really want Venezuelan oil. It's probably what there's all about. It ain't about them fishermen or drugs. Maybe they can sell that to the American people, okay? But that's not what it's about. I mean, look, you can see that. Nobody can be so stupid, because in the USMJ, they have the very example of the illegal thing that they're doing. Killing people that are survivors after they already bombed the boat. And these people ain't even like fighting with weapons. They're just on fishing boats. And it's not hard to see that America is picking a fight with Venezuela. And it ain't because of the drugs. But, you look, things can get frustrating, but I just wanted to mark it down, because today I feel like a little bit more hope, because I think that Trump is going to be contained, and I think that they actually know that he's actually has dementia, and so he can't be trusted. Like, he never could be trusted, okay? But now he really can't be trusted. And they're probably telling him that they got new technology that, you know, can keep him alive. And then that's probably why he came out with that post about the med beds. Because I wouldn't be surprised, okay, since he took that stuff seriously, I wouldn't be surprised if they're actually telling him, and he's actually that far gone. They're probably telling him that they don't worry about nothing, because, you know, we got you covered, man. Look, if anything happens, they're gonna put you in this thing right here, and it's gonna keep you until we figure out the solution. I don't know what they're gonna say, but look, otherwise, you know, he's just gonna have to, you know, play it out to the end. But I just today, even though I know what he's doing is horrific and everything like that, and it infuriates me, but at another level, okay? At another level. Okay? This is not the, okay, you have your level of people actually in the front lines in the battle, okay? One-on-one, hand-to-hand combat, okay? Or, you know, if it's not hand-to-hand, I mean, it's close-up combat, okay? And you have a good chance of dying if you don't kill them first. And look, it used to be, man, you better just be ready to die, because you probably are going to die. And then you have another level, okay, of the people that you're actually fighting for, and then, you know, their lives depend on you and stuff like that. And then you got another level that the people that are actually causing all the wars, you know, they're just benefiting off the war and everything, and actually nobody even ever knows, right? And these layers keep going like that, you know, over and over. We see them in life, okay? Starting out from my dog, you know, like thinking, you know, this is his world, this is my dog's world, all right? But I know a little bit more than what my dog knows, okay? Okay? And that's the way it is in life, you know? There's people above us in the world that's the way they have, like we're kind of like the dogs, and they know more, and it's like that, okay? And they can't, and people can't tell everybody everything that's going on. And that's kind of like a natural thing in life. So, yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to make a note of that, because it does go hand in glove, you know, with my, like, you know, sanity kind of sutra. I could call it the Sutra of Sanity, you know. It's not about me. Okay. That would be like the undercase T, which always has a nice thing to go up from, keep going up. That's what that means for me. the lowercase T, and because that's my climbing while I'm making it, and it's coming out to be just like that. And I'm gonna be excited in a little bit, because I'm almost ready to make my high tower. All right, up a little higher. But that's what these, like, that's also what these loop spirals kind of on the way up, round in a circle as we go up kind of deal, you know. That's kind of like what that is, because we keep learning things and make those slight improvements, and then you come to the first challenges again, but they're different, you know, because we know more and have more skill. Okay, and they become a little bit easier, have transferred skills. And so and that's the whole concept of, at least my science that I believe, look, it's multitasking. If we make some progress in this here life, and if there is a parallel universe, we also making a progress in the other life, because it seems to me like that's what my dreams are all about, like just other realities, okay? And if I can work it out in this life, then I'll also work it out in the other ones. That's what I think. Kind of like the Three Musketeers, hip hip hooray. The swords go up, Three Musketeers, okay? Swords go up. And one for all for one, and one for all. And, you know, that's what they would say, hip hip hooray, because we've got to keep going up. And that's what I'm doing. I'm going up a little bit higher in my tower. And also with Donald Trump, I'm seeing things from a little bit higher perspective. I'm going up a little bit higher, okay? I'm able now to more objectify him and not take it so personally, because I feel like it might be coming to an end. And finally, okay, this can be a division, cell division, a crisis, divided in half of the cell, and then we have a synthesis, okay, of a new thing is born, a newer, higher evolution, okay? Higher evolution, higher frequency, higher resonance. I'm still trying to think of actually the one I'm trying to think of. It comes from a song I like. I don't know if it's evolution. I don't know. But higher elevation? I don't know. But it's just to go up a little bit higher each step of the way. And that's why we have to go up with a lot of humility and with the understanding that things are never just as they appear. And that's why I made this note, because there's a lot of layers to this onion that we call life. And a lot of things are being differentiated and integrated. And we're continuing to get maybe hopefully like a little bit better. Like it's always darkest before the dawn. So I think that, I'm a little bit happy because Trump actually pushed us to our limits, at least for me. That's how I feel. But now, after I've already had my psychotic breakdown of thinking how impossible and unbelievable the circumstances of life have actually become, and how the great and mighty have fallen, and there seems like no hope left. But I think that there still might be. And so I felt good, He just looks like an old man to me now with dementia. And I think that we're going to still have to go through a lot of stuff. But I think it's coming to an end, and I think we're going to be better in the long run for it. It's been a hard, critical break. Okay, but that's the way breaking is, okay? Your bones and everything actually break on your way up. As you're getting bigger and stuff and you're growing, your bones are actually breaking. They're breaking at the cellular division. That's what I'm saying. Crisis and all that kind of stuff. And cellular division, and then two, and then they keep growing and getting bigger and stuff like that. And that's how we grow as human beings. And that's a lesson, okay? And it breaks. It hurts too sometimes. You have growing pains. I had growing pains before. And so, just so I can stop this one right here, because I feel like I've come to the end. And what I've really been talking about is really growing pains, because that's the way we have to grow. So that's it. Bye.